Hello everyone, and thank you very much for tuning in. Today is the second week of the 10 deep dive weeks, and we are going to be covering insulin resistance. So we're going to be covering exactly what is insulin resistance, what does it do to your body, and give you 5 tips to help you combat that. So stay with me and let's get started. So gonna give you a bit of context there, right? So have you ever eaten a big meal, maybe some pasta, some bread or something sweet, and then you felt tired, sluggish, or even hungry again just an hour or two later? Most people think that's just normal. But what if I told you that this feeling is actually your body sending you a very important signal? Today we're going to be talking about one of the most powerful hormones in your body, the insulin. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why controlling it could be one of the most important things you do for your long-term health. So let's get starting and define what is insulin. We're going to start with the very beginning. Every single time that you eat, especially carbs like bread, rice, pasta, fruit, or anything sweet, your body breaks that food down into a very simple sugar called glucose. That glucose enters your bloodstream. Think of your blood as a highway and glucose as cars on that highway. Now, those cars need to get off the highway and into the cities, which are your cells. Your muscles, your brain, your organs, they all need that glucose to function and to produce energy. But here's the thing, the cells have doors and those doors are locked. Insulin is the key. So your pancreas, a small organ sitting behind your stomach, detects that glucose is rising in your body, and then it releases insulin to unlock those cell doors so that glucose can get in and be used as energy. This is a beautiful, perfectly designed system. Insulin is not your enemy. It's actually doing exactly what it is supposed to do. So when insulin becomes a problem, if insulin is so good, why do we hear so much about it being a problem, right? Here's where it gets really, really interesting. Imagine that you have a neighbor who knocks on your door once a week to deliver something important. You always answer, right? But now imagine that that same neighbor starts knocking on your door 10, 15, or 20 times a day, every single day. After a while, you just stop answering, wouldn't you? You just tune out completely. That's exactly what happens to your cells when insulin is constantly high. When you eat foods that spike your blood sugar frequently, like processed foods, sugary drinks, refined carbs, your pancreas keeps releasing more and more insulin. Your insulin level stays elevated for a long period of time, and your cells, bombarded by this constant signal, start to ignore it. They become less responsive. You call that insulin resistance. Now, here's where your body gets into trouble. Because your cells are not responding properly, glucose can't get into them efficiently. It stays floating in your bloodstream. Your pancreas, sensing that glucose is still too high, panics and produces even more insulin. And the cycle keeps getting worse and worse. So let's talk about the health consequences of that. When that happens, when that cycle continues for months, for years, even decades, this is where it gets serious. And this is why I really want you to pay attention. First of all that glucose floating in your bloodstream starts damaging your blood vessels. Think of it like sugar coating the inside of a pipe. Over time, it makes them stiff, narrow, and inflamed. This is why insulin resistance is so strongly linked to cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure. It's not just about sugar, it's about what sugar does to your arteries over time. Second, your pancreas is working overtime to try to produce more and more insulin. Eventually, it gets exhausted. It can no longer keep up. And then what happens is that blood sugar stays permanently elevated. This is how type 2 diabetes develops. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow process that builds up for years. And third, your brain. Your brain is actually very sensitive to insulin. Researchers have started calling Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes because of how strongly insulin resistance is linked to cognitive decline and memory loss. When your brain cells stop responding to insulin properly, they can't get the energy they need to function. And finally, chronic high insulin levels promote something else, cell growth, and not the good kind. High insulin creates an environment in the body that encourages certain cancers to develop and grow faster. So all of these, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer, cancer, are connected somehow to one root problem: the cells that stopped listening to insulin. So, before we go any further, I want to clear up something that causes a lot of confusion, especially from what I'm reading on social media. And this is very, very important. There are two very different types of diabetes, and they are not the same thing in the slightest. Type 2 diabetes, which we just spoken about, is directly linked to insulin resistance. It develops over time. It's often due to lifestyle factors such as diet, physical inactivity, chronic stress, and it's largely preventable and in many cases even reversible with the right changes at the right time. Now, type 1 diabetes is completely different. It is an autoimmune disease. That means that the body's own immune system attacks and destroys the cells in the pancreas that produce insulin. People with type 1 diabetes produce little to no insulin at all. It has nothing to do with what they eat. A child can be diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 5 years old, having eaten perfectly healthy their entire life. So it's not the fault, it's not caused by sugar, and it's not caused by poor lifestyle choices. I really want to say this clearly because if you have type 1 diabetes, or someone who does, understand that this condition has nothing to do with diet or lifestyle. And confusing both can be quite harmful as well for them who are already dealing with a very serious condition. So remember, type 1, autoimmune, not lifestyle related. Type 2, insulin resistance, largely lifestyle related and potentially reversible. So two very different conditions. So now I want to move on to the practical tips. I want to give you 5 different tips to help you out there. So now that you understand what insulin is, how it works, and what happens when it goes wrong, what can you actually do about it? Here are some simple practical things that you can start to do today. Number 1, watch what you eat. Not all food spike insulin the same way. Processed food, sugary drinks, white bread, white rice, pastries, these cause rapid, sharp spikes in your blood sugar and therefore your insulin. Instead, focus on whole foods, such as vegetables, legumes, whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats. These release glucose slowly and keep your insulin levels much more stable. Number 2, pair your food wisely. If you do eat carbs, try not to eat them alone. Always combine them with protein, fiber, or healthy fat. This slows down how quickly glucose enters your blood and reduces the insulin spike. For example, instead of eating a fruit alone, try to eat it with some nuts or some yogurt. Number 3, move your body after meals. Even like a 10 to 15 minutes walk after eating can make a really significant difference. When your muscles are active, they absorb glucose directly without needing as much insulin. It's one of the simplest and the most powerful things that you can ever do. Number 4, give your body a break from eating. So constant snacking keeps your insulin elevated all day long. Try to space your meals out and avoid eating late at night. Giving your body periods without food allows insulin levels to come back down and gives your cell a chance to recover the sensitivity to insulin. And then number 5, try to manage your stress and your sleep. So that's one surprises people a lot actually. But chronic stress and poor sleep both raise cortisol levels, which in turn raises blood sugar and insulin. Taking care of your mental health and getting quality sleep is not a luxury. It's essential for your metabolic health. Small changes done constantly can dramatically improve your insulin sensitivity over time. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be consistent. Right. So now to conclude that video, insulin resistance is one of the most common and overlooked health issues of our time. But now that you understand it, you know what insulin is, you know why it matters, what goes wrong, and what you can do about it, right? So please share this video with someone who needs to hear it, because this information could potentially change their life and their troubles. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you around for next week, another video. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.